And hello and welcome to Bloomberg Quint. Agam and I are here to wrap the markets for you. A very stable, steady session is what we saw for the Indian markets today. Of course, the Nifty did open significantly lower, about 30 to 35 points lower, but then since then it kind of held on to its negative territory. No wild swings or too much volatility that we really saw through the session. Relatively steady session. Very surprising, Agam, given that this is one day before the two important central bank meetings that we have, Bank of Japan and the Federal Reserve meeting. So probably market participants are being pretty cautious, something that is expected in a scenario like that.
But remember that this was a session decline after 4 straight sessions of gains as well. Of course, we didn't see much of gains in the last 4 sessions too. But of course, this once again showed some amount of consolidation going.
Correct. So last week we did see a little bit of consolidation. The week before that we had seen a good 1.5% gain. Even if I talk about it, the Nifty did end about 0.4% lower. Yesterday we ended about 0.4% higher. So basically wiping off yesterday's gains, but more or less we are range bound.
Absolutely.
And not too many sharp moves that we are seeing.
Yes.
So basically market is not giving away any cue with respect to the next directional move. What is expected from the Fed? Well, we've discussed this before, and of course the polls are suggesting that the probability of the Fed rate hike tomorrow is down to below 20%. And of course, even in the recent past, the US data has been more on the softer side. So in all likelihood, markets are not expecting any major change in stance when it comes from the Federal Reserve. And so Fed is expected to hold off an interest rate hike until December. But of course, Janet Yellen's comments is something that everybody is going to watch out for to get cues in terms of what holds. So yes, Asia, if you talk about that, Asian indices ended mixed in trade, and Europe was trading relatively firm. But for India, the breadth was definitely negative, Agam. But where was the maximum activity as far as the FNO trends are concerned?
Well, firstly, let's just address the total turnover. At least for NSE, that stood around 2.5 lakh shares, or 2.5 lakh crores. And the thing about the NSE turnover is that's lower than the previous 5 to 6 day average. This means that there really hasn't been too much participation, and that brings us to the consolidation that we've seen in Nifty, not just today but over the past 3 or 4 sessions. Moreover, when it comes to the indices and its futures, once again, just like yesterday, we've only seen about 1.5% increase or decrease when it comes to the Nifty futures or the Nifty bank futures. So there has been a lack of participation. That said, given the fact that we've seen the Nifty move below the 8800 mark, we have seen a lot of writing in the 8800 call. And that was evident in this particular graph. As you can see, we have seen an increase and a spike in the 8800 call, and that's the blue line I'm talking about. But similarly, we've also seen a spike in the 8800 put, which is denoted by the red mark here. As far as your range is concerned, once again, you see that between the 9000 call, and for now it is the 8600 put. So that brings you to a 400 point range as far as the Nifty is concerned. But let's not forget, we are looking at two very important events over the next 1 week. So this range is most certainly going to keep changing until we finally see markets settle in, not just for India but the global markets as well. So well, that's as far as your FNO trends are concerned, and we really haven't seen much change. What are your Nifty gainers and losers telling you?
Agam, sectors like realty, auto and FMCG, something that has been doing well of late, is something that was weak in trade today. So again, sector rotation is the words that we have used in the recent past. So you had Hero MotoCorp, you had Bajaj Autos, some of these auto names seeing cuts of about 2 to 3%. Metal index was the only one which was seeing gains driven by Hindalco and Tata Steel, both of which saw over 1% gains. Even a smaller non-Nifty company like SAIL saw some gains, and that is after the Indian Steel Secretary said that the Steel Ministry was to meet banks to discuss the debt in the steel sector, and he also said that government may impose anti-dumping duty on more steel products over the next 2 weeks. So some positive momentum that was seen as far as the metal stocks were concerned. Yes, banks saw a rebound for the second straight session. That was the top gainer on Nifty. So that's as far as the Nifty was concerned. Agam, a big block deal in Castrol.
Yes, absolutely, and it's also one of the biggest gainers as far as the mid-cap space is concerned. So when it comes to Castrol, we're looking at gains of around 9.4%. That's where it's ended at around 462. Care is another counter which has gained 8% today's job trade. Delta Corp moving from strength to strength, now at 168, followed by Marksans Pharma as well as Colte Patil among the other gainers in today's day of trade. Moving on to losers, of course, there are no surprises there. We're looking at Jubilant Foodworks taking a cut around 6%, and we were expecting sentiment to worsen. This is after its CEO Ajay Kaul has decided to call it quits, and he will move on out of office from Jubilant Foodworks at the end of March 2017. Other than that, we're looking at losses in Indiabulls Realty. That's more of profit taking, so to speak. And you have ILFS Transportation, HDIL, as well as Dalmia Bharat looking at some amount of losses. But on the whole, as you can see, the momentum today is towards the gainers, at least in the broader markets. And once again, we'll have to keep an eye on a lot of these counters moving to trade. A lot of these are also from futures and options space, so we can expect more activity considering the fact that we've seen a significant amount of increase in open interest towards some of these counters. But that's as far as the broader markets go. Anything we're keeping an eye on, of course, except for the big meets coming up.
Agam, one more stock that I was want to talk about is MCX, because the commodity exchange that has risen as much as about 11.5 to 12% in the last 5 sessions if you count today also. So MCX saw good run up today, but of course corrected a bit or came off in the second half of the day. So traders and analysts are saying that this rise could be on the back of relative valuation bets on the back of BSE and NSE IPO. So that was one stock. That apart, ICICI Prudential Life Insurance IPO was subscribed about 31% overall to 230. So that's as far as one or two other events were concerned. But yes, global central bank meetings is all that we are pushing out for.
Yes.
That's all for today, and we will see you back tomorrow at the same time. Thank you for watching Bloomberg.